What up, family? How you doing today? We in the building. Real talk with Shenita and her story, his story with.
Katrice.
Yeah, Katrice J in the building. Listen, y'all, we in the building today. We got none other than our girl, our sister, our partner in some crimes. Come on, somebody.
Some crime.
Some crimes. None other than the I am Tina Marie. Come on, y'all. She in the building today. Listen, y'all, this has been a long time coming, man. We getting her in the building, in the studio, y'all. Shouts out. We could not do this if it was not for Laws Media Group. Shouts out to Fonte Laws in the building, y'all. Gotta give my brother a hand clap of praise. Yes, yes, yes. Come on, somebody. Listen, y'all, today, I don't know why I got a little nervous then. Like, this is Tina. This is Tina. Like, I got to shake it off. You know what I'm saying? But listen, y'all, today we got I am Tina Marie in the building, y'all. We got a lot to talk about in a little bit of time. So we might have to do a part 2 session. We know she got a lot going on. Just to give a little background of my sis, I met her maybe 2016, something around that area, with my sister Katrice Johnson. Katrice at the time, I am Ruth, y'all. Shouts out to I am Ruth in the building. Her story, his story in the building. Cloud9 community outreach, all that good stuff. Cloud9 steppers. And so listen, y'all. I met Tina. We were, I believe we had went to McDonald's one day or something, and we was trying to get some internet, y'all.
Right.
And I met her, and we kicked off. All of us clicked. Katrice introduced y'all. It is now coming to pass, and so here we find ourselves at Lives Media Group Studio today. We have our sister, I am Tina Marie, Prophet Tina Marie, author Tina Marie, mother Tina Marie, daughter Tina Marie, and one day future wifey Tina Marie. Come on, somebody. Grandmother Tina Marie. Come on.
Ooh, grandma. Oh,
Grandma. Listen, I had and Tina Marie with the 3-year-old. Oh no, he 4 now.
Four,
Four
yes.
now. Listen, y'all, my sis, I be like, girl. Look, like Sarah J say, child. But again, y'all, we are excited to have her in the building. And so today we're going to be discussing a few topics. We are talking about from then to now. And so I just gave your shout out and everything. So, sis Katrice, is there anything you want to say before we get all up in her business? What's his name? From Love and Hip Hop. He say, "Biz naive" before we get up in your biz naive, okay? Because we're gonna get all up in your business today.
Okay. No, I'm just happy to be here and excited about this interview. So yeah, let's go.
Let's go. All right, Tina. Now that we've introduced you, and we want to talk about from then to now, let's get started back. And I know we can go way back, but we're gonna get started from 2016, from the time I met you. And I know we were doing some I Am Ruth stuff with Sister Katrice, and at the time, I think you were working on Thoughts of a Queen then, and so you were working on Thoughts of a Queen back then, but that was 9 years ago, and now here you are 9 years later. You just birthed Thoughts of a Queen. So let's go back to why did you start with Thoughts of a Queen? Because I always tell her, y'all, it's about a three-part series with her. But we'll get into that later. But she kind of started Thoughts of the Queen, was probably like the second thing. Extra was the first, but she released that first, and then came Unbound, and then Thoughts of a Queen. So now we're paddling it back to the first thing, which was Thoughts of a Queen. And let's talk about, how did you get there with Thoughts of a Queen in 2016?
So in 2016, I think I had moved here from New Jersey, and I had already been here maybe for about 4 years. I went through a horrible divorce from a crazy husband at the time. And I went through a lot of like verbal abuse as a child, and then meeting him, going through that abuse for probably about 10 years. So I was reading T.D. Jakes' book called Women That Are Loose. And I remember sitting on my stepfather's couch at the time. And, coming here was like a big like shock, because I went through like having like my own everything, like my own houses and cars. And then moving here, I had to literally start all over. So after I was able to read the book, I remember getting off the couch, and I literally like it felt like somebody had like hit me right in my knees, to the point to where it was almost like that God literally pushed me to the floor. And at that moment, that was part of my breaking point. And I remember hearing God say thoughts of a queen, because he told me I had to reprogram my mind after everything that I had been through. So at that moment, I was just getting on Facebook, posting thoughts of a queen quotes. And then, me and you, we used to always like go live all the time. So that's where thoughts of a queen started from first. And it was just, it wasn't only about me helping other women, but it was also me helping me too. Because it was like I just kept posting, and I literally had to do a factory reset mentally first. And at the time, I didn't really understand what God was doing. But the first thing, I don't know about anybody else, but with me, God had to deal with me mentally first.
Okay, so Thoughts of a Queen started from you sitting on the couch. She said she felt like she was hitting her knees, y'all. So if we could talk to the women today, and it is the month of purple, domestic violence month, and so we are domestic violence advocates. So on a serious note, when she said it had to start with her first. So the thing that I love most is us recognizing where we are in that moment, recognizing like, listen, this thing ain't about nobody else right now. How can we go and encourage somebody else if we're not listening to where we are? And oftentimes we get out and we do this thing. I found myself in that place. We do this thing of encouraging, and before you know it, you broke down, because why? We didn't start with us first. So I'm grateful to know, like, you was like, okay, this thing is about me. You know what I'm saying? Even though you still encourage. And so that's where Thoughts of a Queen came from. And we super excited about Thoughts of a Queen now. We know that Thoughts of a Queen came then, right? And we're going to pedal back to Thoughts of a Queen, because she just released the book in August of this year for Thoughts of a Queen. We'll pedal back to that. But let's go deeper and let's talk about this exit strategy, because now so let me say this.
Wheel it back on in.
Gotta reel me back on in, right? So 2016 through 2019. Those were 3 years of it was uncut raw. It was some nasty times and nasty days, right? I remember myself pulling you off the couch. I remember myself and Pastor Teresa Avon coming to do a drive-by with you, because not only did you I think you got a double blow at that point. And so let's talk about being a mom. Let's talk about encouraging ourselves and being in that place. I'm out here. I'm doing all these things with Thoughts of a Queen, and I'm pushing, and we doing what is it? What was we doing at the time? Your shows. I Am Ruth. What's the other one? I can't think of it.
What? Fill Me Up.
Fill Me Up. How I Got Over. We out here doing all these things, but then here I go. Boom.
Yeah. Now that was when you pulled me off of the couch. I was literally in the process of going through a nervous breakdown. I remember staring at the wall and literally about to lose my mind, because I didn't quite understand why. I felt like at the time I was living right. I wasn't out here sleeping around with multiple men. I was going to church. I was helping other women, heal. And when I found out that my daughter Faith, when she got pregnant when she was like 16, I really took that personal, and I felt like at the moment that I wasn't a great mom because of what happened. But not knowing that my daughter, she has her own testimony that she has to live. So I thank God for you coming pick me up off that couch, girl, because I was on my way to the crazy house. Okay, I'm like, God, hold on, you got me out here preaching and teaching, but this hits home. But I thank God, because sometimes God has to cause things around you to shift in order to get your attention. And I feel like, I'm not the only one, because ministry and family can be a bit tricky. because the enemy knows how much our kids mean to us. So I felt like that was at that moment, I felt like I was being attacked, and I just felt like my whole world was like falling down. And then, people were talking about me. They were saying I was like this unfit mom, and it was just, I had just had it. I said, you know what, God, I'm done. Yeah.
And then we came along. And pulled you up off the couch. Yeah, I remember that day like it was yesterday. And she was like, I said, we can ready to go to church. I can't go. I said, you better go in there, do your PTA, put back on your same clothes you had on yesterday, and let's go. Like, that's what sisterhood is about. You know what I'm saying? And although, we're not in a place, and nobody's perfect. You know what I'm saying? Let's put that out in the atmosphere. Nobody's perfect. So I could relate to your story, because here I was a 16-year-old teenage mom, and then my daughter came back in her 12th grade year and top in her school, scholar, and everything, and she ended up getting pregnant. And so she was not only did she down herself, but I was able to be in that place to be like, okay, we're gonna pick up from here, let's go. So it was a moment where I've been through that, and then I could see you through that. You know what I'm saying? Just as well as our I am Ruth's sister, which we have here. We call her our I don't know why my words is our Naomi,
silent killer.
Yes. But she's our Naomi, because it was a lot of times where I would see her and her kids do some things, you know what I'm saying? And I would like, dang, I want that for my kids. And I think that's what she's given us, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
To move on. So in that time, and that was from 2016 to 2019, we saw a lot of things happen, but yet we still stood the test of time, right? And so with your daughter, going through all of that, seeing all that, and I know sometimes things can be triggering, right?
Right.
That it'll bring back the things that you went through, and then now you got to go through this with your own child. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about where like from then to now, if you could tell a mother out there, you know what I'm saying, of the things that you did or you wish you could have did different, right? Knowing what you know now, what would you say to that mother?
I feel like what I really should have done different was ask some more questions. I felt like we were close, but I felt like I really wasn't asking her enough questions. And I felt like that that kind of led her to where she ended up getting. I'm not going to say the fully how, but I felt like, no, well, now I feel like that she kind of felt left out. So even though I was going out, I was preaching, I was teaching, and I was helping everybody else. And a lot of times she would be with me. So I didn't even know. I mean, we would talk, we would have like sleepovers and everything. So I had no idea until she was maybe about 20, until she came to me. And she was like, well, I kind of wish you would have just been a little bit more personal with me. And one thing about Faith is that when God gave me her name, I didn't even know what the setup was.
My God.
Because her name is Faith, divine faith. So even in that, God was like testing like my faith. But she came back when she was maybe about 22, and she said, Mom, I was like, oh, Lord, what Faith? Because, you never know what's going to come out of her mouth. She said, everything that you told me, you was right. And I feel like even in that, not really, I should have never blamed God, or I never should have went through that phase to where I felt like I was like losing my mind. But now I realized that God was just testing my faith in it too. Because we can see our kids going down the wrong road, and sometimes we may try to save them. And I literally spent, what really drove me crazy is that I didn't know she was pregnant until she was in Jersey for the summer. So my ex-husband had called me at the time and said, you ain't even tell me that the girl was pregnant. I said, you say what?
Wow.
So she had hid her pregnancy, and I didn't know for maybe that she was probably about close to 5 months.
Wow.
And I had no idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So we know parents, better communication. Here hear them, but also listen to them.
Yeah.
You know, take that process. Me and my daughter had a conversation last night, long, deep conversation, right? And they like, Mom, you always answering, and I'm like, okay. So now I got to learn to be a better listener, right? My sister over here looking at me like, nah. Make it say, nah. So for real though, like I listened to them last night. So it's like, we got to learn it. But then after all of that, right, she come back and she texts us, right? And she says, again, thank y'all. Y'all think I don't be listening, but thank y'all.
Yeah.
But I asked them, like, for me, it's, I can't, y'all got to accept me for who I am, right? So they want me to be mom, but then they want me to turn off Prophet Shenita, or they want me to turn off this person. And I don't, it's not a turn on. It's not a turn on, turn off switch with me. And I'm like, and I threw y'all in it. Like, I'm like, well, me and my sister, well, how you and your sister? Well, me and my sisters, we talk, because Tina know I eat her alive. Katrice eat me alive, I eat Tina alive, right? But Katrice eat me alive at the place of, she just real quiet and really in soda, right? But I hear her, I eat Tina alive, but that's just who I am, right? And so, but even in that, I still learn something. So I thank God for you saying that, like, you know now, you know better. Like now, okay, well, that communication is better,
right?
We
and then wait, I want to add one more thing that she told me last month. She said every time that you knew that I was going down the wrong road, she said I didn't like how you would tell me that I was doing wrong instead of really just being there, embracing her for where she was, and not, because when even when you think about it, that's acting in control. Even though she was still, young, she said, I had my own mind and this is what I felt like I wanted to do. And I'm just like, well, no, you're not going to do this and you're not going to do that. So she told me telling her not to do it, it pushed her into doing it anyway, because she wanted to prove that
she was going to do it.
She was going to do it. And she said, boy, I wish I would have did it. I said, well, yeah. It's real.
Yeah.
I think something that's interesting that you said was about, like, when we have kids, like when you try and balance, and we talk about balanced life, but when we talk about balancing, and I know you said you can't turn it off and on, but trying to balance ministry and family or events or whatever the case is, and just realizing, like, to try and balance those things. For me, I've stepped away from a lot of things because, like, our children and our families are impacted by, even though it's a good thing, it's a God thing, there still has to be balance. And I think a lot of households and people need to be reminded, like, it's okay to be in ministry, it's okay to serve, but also, like, set those boundaries and spend time with your family, spend time with your kids, your spouse, or whatever, like knowing when to, like, turn it off and on. Right.
And then too, what I know now is that your first ministry
is family.
Is your family.
Yep.
But I ain't trying to shift the blame, but I was just really a teenage mom too, trying to balance and figure it out. So generational curses can be real, but somebody has to step up and be held accountable for it.
Absolutely.
Good. So we take accountability, right? And that was then. And so here we are now, right?
Yeah.
So let's go. We scaling it on up from 2019 because, y'all, I got to say this. It wouldn't be me if I don't say it. Tina fell off the face of the earth, y'all. Bro over there shaking his head.
She calling me out, y'all.
Sometimes you got to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's cool. And, so 2019 to 2024, right? Or 2020 to 2024. Which was it? I don't know.
Katrice said I lost count.
I know. She was like, she don't know. But anyway, so from those, it had to be, it was about 3.5, 4 years because,
No, I think it was really 5 years.
5 years?
And look, 5 is the number of grace. So give me a little grace.
So from 2018, so from 2018 then to, no, and it probably was around that time because I know 2019 I kind of scaled back. I went through a season of depression myself, so I kind of scaled back from some things too. So we're gonna say from 2018 to 2024, God did a new thing, and a new thing was when she came back, y'all. She had a baby and a book, right?
Yeah. y'all were like, wait a minute. So this what she was doing for 5 years.
When she came back, y'all, she had a baby and a book. But let me tell y'all how good. Y'all know I'm gonna make y'all laugh. Let me tell you how good God is. This is what I love about the setting, though, because we can be real, right?
Right.
And so when she came back, I remember it was March 2024. We was at Sis Renee, Shenita Renee's book signing. And Katrice and I were just going on again, like we minded our business. We're going to support. Mariah's Key invited us out or whatever. We're going to support. Lo and behold, we get through the door, brother. Guess who we see? The Tina Marie Sipper.
I was like, hey, y'all.
She's like, hey, y'all. And I'm
Look,
looking at
just
her
like I never left.
like,
Look, you know how black folks do.
I'm like, where you been? Sis up here being reserved, right? I ain't gonna go all into that detail. Sis being reserved, I'm like, where you been? So, you know, of course, there was a lot of people around us or whatever. So we sat, we talked the whole time or whatever. We left. We ended up going back to the salon, and God linked us back, and we stayed at the salon for hours, taking pictures, planning events.
Because one thing we gonna do is play.
We're gonna plan something. And what got me was the next day she texted me, and she said,
"Girl, I sent you like a 9-minute voice memo."
Oh yeah, you did. And she was talking about live, love, laugh, right? And we talked, and then what got me was because sister and I had already been. We like this the year we're gonna finish our books. This the year we're gonna do this, that, and other. And we would say it every year, right? But it was the moment that, and I appreciate, you know, the timing that God does things, right?
Yeah.
And so he had to do what he did in you. We were still doing what we were doing. And God linked us back together. And so in the link, you know, some things had to be reassured. Some things had to be, hey, I apologize. I won't do it. Yeah. I ain't going. That ain't all of y'all business.
I was gonna say we can talk about what, you know, so what happened within the 5-year period of time, and then how we connect. I don't mind.
You don't mind? Okay, sis was a bad friend, y'all.
I mean, and that's why I want to talk about it, because this is real talk, right?
Yeah.
And I really feel like that this is gonna help so many women.
Yes.
And I don't want to use this as a crutch or a Band-Aid, but when you're used to being the strong person and when your world is turned upside down, me disappearing was a trauma response. And, you know, like, because I was going through it, I wasn't thinking about how I was acting was going to, you know, how do I say it? Affect others. And I know when you're going through it, you know, you don't want to talk about different things, but you also need to take accountability and realize that when it's a true friendship, you should be able to call and talk and say, listen, I'm going through it. I need prayer. But instead, I just literally disappeared.
She fell off the face of the earth.
I'm talking about for 5 years. I was going through it.
She fell off the face of the earth.
and I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was just like, but I mean, even in that, what I could say is like true sisterhood. You should think about your sister's feelings. No matter what you're going through, it should either, all you got to do is send a quick text. Listen, I'm going through it. God is dealing with me in this. And I'm not saying I'm not acting funny. I'm just going through a storm. So communicate. If it's true sisterhood, communicate. But one thing that I love about God is you can run from something, but you can't hide.
You can't hide.
Because divine connections. I don't care where you at. God gonna say, okay, I think you done suffered. You know,
I think you had suffered a little while,
baby.
She tried to run, y'all, but she couldn't. And God, we smacked that, ran back into each other. Like, this is what it is. And that was March of 2024. And I told her that day, I was like, don't keep apologizing to me. Apologize to your sister over here, because they were closer.
Yeah,
they were closer, and to be on the latter end of that, you know what I'm saying? I thank God that I was able to be here, there, you know what I'm saying? And then so this is how we're gonna go into Unbound. I'm gonna pivot back to exit strategy, right? But I thank God that I was able to be there. And so this time around, y'all, like, I'm like, man, she changed, right? She changed. And I'm trying to convince everybody around me, like, she changed.
Like, you better
I see a change.
with that
Like, don't you do it. I'm like, man, I see a change in her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really see a change. Like, this is it. This is it right here. And I get the reserve, right? I get the reserve. I get that, you know, things will never go back to being what it was, right? But
and
we
then
move
too,
forward.
you can't disappear out of somebody's life and just think that they're going to snap right back into it.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen, because then, you know, you got to build trust and stuff again. But I think God was dealing even with you and learning how to forgive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely. Mm-hmm. So when we linked, assisting and stuff, and she like, okay. The first thing I asked her the question, y'all.
Do you have a covering?
Do you have a cover?
Look at her face.
Woohoo! Let me just say, Jesus take the wheel. And the covering piece, we won't even go into that. Just know Jesus covers you. God covers you. Whatever you believe in, you believe in to believe. And I tell people, don't follow us, because we're human beings, right? Like, can I put this plug out here real quick? Don't follow us. We're human beings. Follow Christ as we walk together. Follow God as we walk together. Whatever your belief is, that's what you follow as we walk together in this thing. So what I've learned over this last year and some change, right? Because we've been through many obstacles. We've been through many trials. We've been through many circumstances. But we became unbound in this place, right? Ooh. So sis came and God gave her unbound. And so she was like, hey, yo, I'm about to do whoop the whoop. Can you know, I want you to be one of the authors. And I'm like,
guess what? It's been a year.
A year. I saw that.
Today is a year. So we last year this time we was getting ready to release Unbound. We was birthing. We was in the delivery room pushing the baby out of Unbound. Yeah, we was at the conference, and it's been a year. My God, it's been a year that you got what you needed, sis, because it was at your event that she went up. Shouts out to Prophetess Danielle McCord. It was at Katrice's event. Prophetess Danielle, not Katrice. Tina, Tina's event, the Prophetess Danielle, I got excited real quick because it's anniversary. So, like, you see what the enemy tried to do, but it's anniversary for both of y'all. You understand? Although you were coming out of Unbound and she came in there broken, we'll talk about that in a few. But God healed you.
Yeah, and so to speak to, like, the disconnect or, like, the disappearance. I don't know why I say disappearance, but for the disconnect.
She did disappear.
She did. Disappearing act of Tina Marie.
Magically, she disappeared, and God said, poof, she's back again.
Yeah, but to speak to that, so, like, even when I first started I Am Ruth, these two and Pastor T, like, they were there for, like, a lot of the events and things that I had going on. But I started I Am Ruth from listen, I don't even know. I'm going to tell the story just because we own this. But, like, so initially when I read the book of Ruth, I was thinking, like, the relationship between Ruth and Boaz. But when I read it again, I recognized the relationship between Ruth and Naomi and that sisterhood and that bond and that support. And so that is where I Am Ruth was birthed from. So over the years and times, like, you see me, you see Tina. And so Tina just disappeared. And for me, like, I didn't know what was going on. And I didn't know if she was okay. So I think the biggest thing for me was, like she said, the communication piece and just knowing, like, I don't have to know all your business. I just want to know you're okay. And so, you know, we just didn't have communication during that time. And when we did reconnect March of 2024, like, we hugged it out, we cried, and I'm like, I forgive you. And so even though, like, I forgave Tina in that moment for the disconnect, like, my feelings were hurt, but she was going through her own thing that, you know, she could share or not share, but she was going through her own thing. But for me, it was just, like, the disconnect and not understanding, like, not knowing if she's okay, and then the not understanding piece. And so when I saw her, like, we reconnected, you know, we went through the whole, like, I forgive you. But then came... But I was skeptical, so I'm like,
she was.
I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical because I'm
like, dang.
I'm like, Like, you
I
know,
already knew.
don't want to get burned again. Like, can't get that close. But yeah, like seriously, I was. And so even though in that moment, like, I forgave, it took some time, and it was at Unbound that I truly like.
Ooh, I felt that.
Yeah, like I truly was unbound because Pastor Danielle was talking about like the residue. And so even though I had forgiven in that moment several months before, like it was the residue of not knowing why, not understanding why, like, and y'all were there, so y'all know she talked about the residue piece. And so I, like, for people that's watching, like when you go through things,
this is good.
Like forgiveness, like sometimes people do go through their own process. They're going through their own thing. And a lot of times detachment is not even about you. It's about that other person. Wow. And so you can't get caught up in your feelings because the other person may have been going through whatever they're going through. But forgiveness, they say often, like, the forgiveness piece is not for the other person, but it's for you. And you have to be okay with knowing or not knowing. And so in that situation, I didn't know. But, like, when I went to, and listen, I'm not going to lie. When I went to the Unbound conference, I just showed up because Shenita was like, you going with me to this conference? I'm like, okay. And so all it took was just God placing me in the room, just placing us in the room. And so God did a thing for me that day, and I'm so grateful to be a part. But also God was doing some things in you.
Yes.
Wow. Unbound.
But you know what? Like you hear people say, you can forgive but never forget. But what I'm learning is you got to clearly remove that out of your mind, because that residue, and we know how the enemy operates, is one crack, he gonna run a marathon, and he will use that residue, and those memories will keep playing back and over, and every time you see the person, you like, I don't trust you, or you did this, or you stole my money. But it's just literally you doing. No, I'm just, just speaking in like general. But you have to literally get rid of that residue. So that was good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all clap it up for my sisters. I was being Naomi in the group then, y'all. Listen.
Lord knows.
I was like, two sets of my friends, and I won't say the other names, two sets of my sisters were going through literally the same thing. And I'm like, God, you really got me in the middle of this. But to even see that the outcome with you guys, you know what I'm saying? And now we taking trips together. We doing what we do. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what? One thing I want to add, like, when those 5 years, I was working at Spectrum. I was like the top sales rep. Girl, I was probably making like over like $100,000 a year. I was selling hair, waist trainers. Yeah, you was. And then I need to turn that hustle back up again, but that's gonna be another subject for another day. But and then the guy that I was talking to at the time, me and Elijah's dad, we was off and on for like 10 years. So it was a lot. And then finding out I was pregnant. So I had literally moved away from Raleigh and moved in with Elijah's dad. And this is why it's so important that you have to make sure that you're equally yoked. Because I saw myself high and I saw him rising. It was like he was sucking the life out of me. My God. Now, I'm not saying, to anybody listen, because I know people will take stuff and drag it. Okay? I'm going to say that. I'm not saying that, he's a bad person, but you got to make sure that you are with the man that God himself has ordained for you to be with. Because I had ended up getting into, I got pregnant with Elijah, bad health issues, high blood pressure. Girl, the folks had me pricking my finger through meals. And then after I had Elijah, I would lose my voice for months. So I couldn't even talk on the phone. So the doctor had told me that I had throat cancer. And come to find out I had a thyroid issue. I had about 3 nodules on my throat, and I had to go through like chemo. to take the knots out. Then I went through and then I had ended up getting into a car accident. I had totaled my car, and I said, you know what, I gotta leave this man because he rising and I'm sinking.
My God.
And God woke me up the day before Thanksgiving. He said, this is not your husband. I need for you to leave. And that was like, wait a minute, I'm 40. I just don't had a baby. I done lost everything. I'm broke. I don't have any money. And at that point, I had to, I didn't have to, but I wanted to listen to God because God had already told me that wasn't my husband.
God
anyway.
will say it. He man.
He'll let you know.
Right. But, we want to be grown.
Yeah.
And we want to take things in our own hand. But God showed me that time. And when I left that time, I said, I'll never ride that emotional roller coaster again. Yeah.
Well, that's good. So going into that, we'll pedal back. So that was probably your second real exit strategy, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so that's when you released the exit strategy in 2023, right? The end of 2023. So exit strategy was your second book that you released. Well, your first book that you released,
my first book.
but it was your first book that you released, but not the first thing that you went through, because Thoughts of a Queen was really your first baby, right?
Right.
But exit strategy happened years before with your former husband.
Right.
But it took your kid, your son Elijah's dad, to really push you to doing the exit strategy. And so exit strategy is a part of the Advocate for Domestic Violence, right? And so we'll give you talk about that. But I really want to talk about Unbound. I know you're revamping exit strategy, so we'll bring you back on to do exit strategy because I want to hop into this Unbound book and Thoughts of a Queen, y'all. Unbound, I know that you birthed that in May of 2024. I know you God given you that. But let's talk about you going through in Unbound. You birthing Unbound.
Child.
You got 12 or 13 authors, and even in that, let's tell the people how you lost everything.
But you know what? The crazy part about it is I was working on Unbound, but I was also helping someone else birth another book.
Wow.
That had 10 other women. So I didn't realize that, boy, the enemy said, you think you about to free these women? I'm about to script everything from you. So I went from, again, God just loves scripting me. Jesus.
He had to humble you, girl.
Girl, I said, wait a minute now.
Let's talk about the humbling experience. Come on,
Yeah,
let's be real and talk about that, because there's somebody out there that
Right.
think it's the glitz, the glams,
Right.
the houses, the cars, and
Right.
they think it's all this stuff. But in a blink of an eye, you can have all this one day, and the next
Right.
moment, guess what? It can be taken away from you because you don't value the real thing that God has for you.
Right.
Not saying that you didn't value it, but sometimes we take all this stuff, which is just
Right.
stuff that we can't take with us, and we value these things instead of valuing the real thing that's really like God, my
Right.
faith, my faith in you, like the favor that you have on my life. Like, I don't want to look at the material thing a part
Right.
of it, but because that can't go with us like when we
No.
leave this earth. So it's like, talk about that piece of that, and how in Unbound, like, I literally seen it, did not really know the depths, because this girl hid some stuff from us, y'all.
Baby.
Didn't know the depths of what
Yeah.
she went through until October the 26th of last year,
And
when
so
she
I literally,
yeah.
Well, when I birthed Unbound, I had just moved into a brand new house. I had just got a 2024 Q5 Audi truck. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was
Q5
floating. Woo! And God woke me up like 4:00 in the morning. He said, Unbound. And I said, all right, God, what do you want me to do with this? He said, I want you to get women that have been through abuse, and I want you to put them all in a book. So I was just really focusing on publishing Unbound, not knowing everything that I was going to go through in the process. So I had ended up, let me see. So Unbound was birthing me. So around June, I had ended up losing my job. And I had to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
Hold on, y'all. She lost her job, but yet she still paid for my photo shoot in June. Make it make sense.
I'm from Jersey, y'all. I'm a hustler. But I mean, I still had money coming in because, people, they were still asking me to, help them publish books and start, like a business. So at that moment, I thought that I could, here I go again. I thought I could balance everything. So I had I had filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and they told me that I could still stay in my place and I could still keep my car. Well, somehow I end up losing my car, losing my place, and in September, me and my kids were staying in a hotel, and I didn't even know how I was going to get through with the event or publishing the Unbound book. And I remember like breaking down because my oldest son, Will, he said, "Mom, we've been low before, but we ain't never been this low before."
Wow.
And I remember you calling me, not even knowing I was staying in the hotel room. But God literally spoke to me when I was being crucified, when I was hanging on the cross, when he was stripping me from everything. And he said, "I don't want you to say nothing to nobody." And I said, "Ooh. I want you to push through Unbound. And I want you to know for sure that I am Jehovah Jireh."
My God.
And at that moment, there was nothing but God that published Unbound. And also I was able to, still have the event. That was nothing but God. And I've always been a person that liked nice things. But I remember 3 years ago, I was in my prayer closet and God gave me happily ever after. And at the moment, I'm making so much money. I'm like, I am happy. But God was letting me know at that moment, my subtitle was Living Life with No Regrets. And God literally spoke to me at that moment. And he said, it's going to be a time to where I strip you from everything because your happiness needs to be within you and not what you have. So when he stripped me from everything, like the houses, the car, the hair, those were all Band-Aids. So when he ripped them away, he made sure that I was the only person, that he was the only person that I could call, because he was only God that got me out of that, because woo child. So by the time Unbound had came, by the time October had came, like me and my kids, we were staying in the hotel for a month. I didn't even have a car.
Yeah.
So God literally stripped me from everything. So when I made it to Unbound, baby, I remember you walking and you said you looking like you didn't know who I was because I was gone. All I knew is I kept hearing God say, I need for you to go to that altar and lay there. And that's why I laid. When Danielle touched me, I laid at the altar. And at that moment, God said, yes, I use you to birth a movement. But in this, you became unbound to what was keeping you bound. Yeah. And when I laid down there, I literally heard the chains breaking.
Wow.
Woo!
Wow. What Candace say? Speak on it.
Yeah. Now that is the raw, uncut truth.
Yeah. Being unbound while writing Unbound, while serving 12 or 13 other authors, while helping somebody else write a book, living in the hotel, stripped from a car for a whole year, not knowing, nothing but God. Like, that's the true testament of what God can do and how he can do it. I think we got a few minutes left. So listen, I do want to talk about Thoughts of a Queen. So listen, y'all, we talking to the author Tina today. We didn't talk to the mama Tina. We talking to the author Tina today, Prophetess Tina Marie. Y'all know we don't go by titles here, but we just do what God tells us to do. Right. So Thoughts of a Queen, like, how did you get back to, after you went through all of that, how did you get back to your first love, getting back? How did you get back to your first love and getting back to birthing Thoughts of a Queen this year in August?
So I got back to my first love because I realized sometimes we can skip past things. And I remember that God told me well over 8-9 years ago to publish the journal, but I just kept being me and said I'm gonna wait, and I kept waiting and waiting. And when you reached out to me about the event, God said, okay, I'm gonna give you another chance. you need to publish the Thoughts of a Queen journal. So I went ahead, and because back in January, remember I put all of y'all in the group chat, so it was done. So it was just really just me just publishing everything. But God said sometimes I have to take you back to where you first started.
Go back to where you first started.
He took me back, and I'm so glad that he did.
Okay, while we on that topic of Thoughts of a Queen, if you could share with the queens on today, let's jump into relationships real quick. If you could share with the queens today about relationships, like loving you, focusing on you, and talking about the counterfeit.
Ooh,
Come on,
child.
because I be saying whoop de doo, right?
If I end up by myself,
Whoop de doo, brother.
Come
Listen,
on,
we in this
baby.
space today, right? But whoop de doo, like. Let's talk a minute before we close out about the counterfeit, because I know that as a single
woman
in
ministry,
in
mom,
ministry,
grandma,
yeah.
and all these things. One of the things that I will say is that you got to learn how to test the spirit by the spirit. And what was that? Monday, I found out that, the guy that I had been talking to, God literally told me, and this is why it's so important to go to God when you meet people and ask God, okay, God, is this somebody that you sent me, or is this somebody that the enemy sent me? And you're always going to have a thorn in your side, right? Mm-hmm. So my thorn has always been men. So I publish Unbound, Thoughts of a Queen. And
speak on it.
The enemy said, okay, you think you're doing something, I'm about to throw you a curveball. And my curveball was, this man came into my life and literally set me into my soft girl era, and I wasn't used to that. I started wearing my natural hair, and I really thought that this man was somebody that was God sent, and God literally stopped me in my tracks just a week ago, and he said, I need for you to fast and pray. And I don't need for you to talk to him. And I'm just like, but I like him. It was already, like a bond. You know what I mean? We going on dates and stuff. He's sending me flowers. I'm thinking, it's all cool. God, wait a minute. And, Sister Shenita, I think you need to wait. I'm like, Lord have mercy. I said, well, yeah, Lord, I know if she said it. Okay, God, I hear you. And I literally fasted and prayed for this man for a week, not realizing that Friday, I realized he blocked me. And I'm just like, well, Dad, the only thing I said, I'm going before God. I'm testing the spirit by the spirit. And Monday, I remember taking a walk, and I said, okay, God, remove the veil from my eyes. Because I told him, at least give me about 21 days. So I went on the Crown's Rise page, checked his page, and he literally got married on Saturday.
It's not funny.
And I didn't say nothing. So this
it's not funny.
Yeah, so
listen, and she just told me this outside. So I wanted to talk about that because
so it's really so
men really like people really do that.
Yeah. So he literally was living a completely different. I talk to this man all the time, 5 times a day.
Wow. That's counterfeit. They counterfeit. That's why I'm to myself.
And I remember when I got rebaptized, it was me and Tia. We was like sitting at the table, not even knowing that what God was using me for. And this is why, being a prophet, you got to understand that you have to eat the word first. Mm-hmm. And God literally told me, how can you tell a counterfeit? And God literally showed me $100 bill, and he said, when you hold up, when you hold the fake $100 bill to the light, it don't say in God that you trust. Monday, Pastor Nicole went up there, and she was talking about counterfeit seeds, not even knowing. And this is why it's so important to be surrounded by divine connections. She was preaching about it, but God was preparing me. And when I found that out, I cried. Like I literally had to wrap the prayer shawl around me, because I was hurt, but I was more so thinking, what about if I would have went the extra time, and I really wasn't really listening to God. But when God warns you, it's so important, because I would have been dealing with a married man and would have never known.
My God.
So yeah, so you got to make sure, you got to test the spirit by the spirit, because people can pretend. And baby, I'm telling you, in my 43 years of living, I text him. I couldn't even be mad at the man. I told the man, I said, listen, I couldn't even argue with him. I said, congratulations on your wedding. And look, the man told me,
Congratulations.
listen, he said, congratulations on what? I said, he's still trying to drag
on your
it.
nuptials. That's
I
what it sound
said,
like.
congratulations on getting married. You had a beautiful wedding. And girl, I wanted to tell you and this and that. I said, one thing about me and that I love about God is God don't play about me. And I got some people around me that
Yes,
could
she
really
do.
see.
What I tell you in August.
Yeah. You said something.
Better
Some-
watch
But
him.
you
Watch
know
him.
what? You had the dream. When we went to Myrtle Beach, you had a dream. And you said, I had a dream that you was messing around with a man. I said, I don't mess around with no married man.
They don't be.
I'm telling those dreams.
said,
my
wait,
dreams so
I said, I
prophetic,
already
y'all. I'm
dreams.
trying to tell you
And
now.
didn't even know.
Know it.
And didn't
Didn't
even
know.
know.
And here we are,
That's
2 months
crazy.
later. See, that's what I'm telling y'all. Don't play. God don't play about me. The prophetic is real.
Yeah.
And if
It
you
is.
in my team on my corner, like, listen, he be showing me
you-
them dreams. That's a reminder of really.
Right.
I literally
Yeah.
said that,
Confirmation.
And I said, I don't mess around with no married man, shaking my head, not even knowing he wasn't married yet, but he was engaged. But I love how
It's
God
crazy.
literally stopped me in my tracks
Yeah.
a week before
For-
the wedding.
My God.
And I'm over here praying and fasting for this man, like, God, what is it? Show me. And praying and fasting is so important. I don't care what this man or woman tell you. You better lay them before God. And I
Yeah.
asked them, I said, I feel like you're hiding something. I said, I don't know what it is. I said, but I'm going to take it before God. And when I told him that, he got quiet. And he realized, see, he knew Tina,
But he didn't know.
but he didn't know Prophetess
Tina.
Tina Marie. He sent me a message and he said, I know you about to text my wife. I said, for what? I said, because vengeance, it belongs to God and
That's
not
it.
me.
That's it.
I said, because I know if you did it to me, you going to do it again. I said, but I tell you what, when you do it again, God already showed me she going to hurt you.
My God. Woo. All righty, y'all. Listen.
Oh, this is deep. This the real for real.
Sound like the song by Mr. Jesus. Divine connections they are important indeed. Listen,
Yeah.
y'all, this right here, y'all, we definitely got to come back and do a part 2.
Yeah.
And you know, I just wanted to talk a little bit about everything that you do with the relationships, everything that you've gone through. I'm super excited for the journey, sis. I'm super excited. Listen, y'all, to be able to be on this platform with my sisters, we talked about this thing years ago. And here we are,
Yes.
almost 10 years later. Next year, 10th year anniversary.
What we doing?
I don't know, but we doing
Y'all
something
playing
big, y'all. Listen, next year, 10th year anniversary for
Yes.
I Am Ruth Sisters.
Yeah.
And I'm just super excited about, what God is doing. We thank you, Tina Marie. I am Tina Marie,
Yes.
the prophetess Tina Marie, the
Ooh, look,
mother.
I want to talk about that for like a minute.
What's
if I
that?
can.
What we talking?
The I am part.
Okay, and then we want you to show your books and tell
Okay.
everybody where they can get your books from and all that
Okay.
stuff. So, the I Am Tina Marie, y'all. We want to talk about the I Am Tina Marie. Let's go. Let's get it.
So the I am is I feel like a lot of time in like ministry and just with people in like general, they'll try to put so much on you. And even after I wrote like Unbound, I literally had to be unbound from the different titles that people tried to put on me.
Talk about it.
And God literally told me last month, he said, you have the I am of the I am in you.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, the I am, I said, so were you trying to say I'm Moses or somebody? I mean, that's how I talk to God, just like, God, my whole boy. And I literally went to the the book about Moses, and I remember when Moses went on the mountains, and Moses asked God, "Well, what am I supposed to tell the people who sent me?" And God said, "It don't matter how people see you. I am lives in you."
Yeah.
So I tell people I don't want none of them titles.
We ain't
Just
doing
call
titles
me.
in 2020. The rest of 2025,
Tina
2026.
Marie, I am because God is.
She said, I am because God is.
Yeah.
Tell us where we can get your books from. Tell us where we can follow you on social media.
So,
While she's doing that, do we have any questions, comments, concerns?
Oh, I don't know what happened. Okay. I don't know what happened. Okay, so Unbound, I can give you the link where you can get Unbound and where you can get Thoughts of a Queen. And you can follow me on Facebook is Tina Marie, Instagram, I am Tina Marie, and TikTok, I am Tina Marie too.
All right. Y'all heard it here first. Real Talk with Shenita HerStory, his story with none other than my sister
Katrice
J. I am Danny. No, you're Danny. Who am I? Arnold. Yeah.
I'm Danny.
She's Danny.
I'm Danny.
I'm Arnold. We're the twins, y'all. Listen, thank y'all again for tuning in with our segment, season 2, episode 2, with I am Tina Marie Silver. Y'all, we thank you for coming on the show. Look for part 2, y'all. We're gonna bring her back. It's so much to talk about. We coming back with relationships, y'all, and this is gonna be us, all 3 of us. We're gonna be I am Tina Marie, Real Talk with Shenita, and her story with Katrice. We ain't interviewing nobody, right? But we coming back with relationships, with real talk on relationships, because people need to hear this. Men, women need to hear this thing about the counterfeit and what you need to look for, what you need to wait on. These things. I was looking at Candy Birds, and we about to close out, but I was looking at Candy Birds last night. She was interviewing Crystal for Tima from the show Sisters, and she was on it. She was talking about she been dating this man for a year, and 3 months in, she told him that she was listening to God, and she got to be celibate, right? And at first he was like, and she said after they had done did the whoop the woo, right? They done did the whoop the woo, and then she go back in and say she wanted to be celibate, right? But she was listening to God. And they're almost a year later. He respected her because of the queen that she is, right? And he's done that. But how many people can we say, women, we can be dominant, men, they can be dominant too, you know what I'm saying? So when you're in a place and what you believe, now Candy Birds on the other hand was over there looking at her like, girl, he didn't leave you or you didn't leave him, like because
Candy is kind of different.
Candy is Candy, you know what I'm saying? But that's the talk. Like people need to hear that of how to stay in a place, because like you said, that was your vice. Men were my vice. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But at the end of the day, 3 years, hey, listen, gang holding it down over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen.
It is real.
She said she ain't gonna do it. We ain't gonna throw it. But again, y'all, listen, stay tuned. We will be back, y'all. We gonna bring Sis Tina Marie back. When she come back, y'all, we gonna do a segment on relationships.
Yes.
That's what we gonna do. Not interviewing her, but we gonna stay tuned for that, y'all. We gonna come back and do a segment on relationships and just have real talk. It was a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you,
Sis, is there any closing words that you would like to say? Closing remarks?
No, I don't have any words or remarks.
Listen, y'all heard it here first. Brunson over there laughing. He always laughing at us, y'all. Listen,
What's wrong with y'all?
It's always a show. Look, we ask, do you have any words or remarks before we leave? But thank you again, Tina Marie Silver. I am Tina Marie. Listen, she was in the building, Lyles Media Group studio on today. Shouts out to Lyles Media Group studio.
Thank you.
Shouts out to the Uncle Sonny Big Show, our partner in crowd. Like, this is what we do, y'all. Rocky Mount doing big things. Yeah, there are big things going on in the big city of Rocky Mount. We got our own studio with Lyles Media Group studio with none other than Fonte Lyles. Hit them up, y'all. Y'all ready to get in the studio? Hit them up. Thank you again, Sister
welcome.
Tina Marie Silver. That's it, y'all. That's all. We signing off. Real Talk with Shenita HerStory, his story with your girl
Katrice.
And we out, baby. Deuces. Peace.